Hello folks, welcome to my channel. I'm Lee. I talk about hypnosis. I've been a hypnotist for about 14 years, something like that. And I really love doing it. I like changing people for their better, whatever that means. Hey, I enjoy playing with the brain and seeing what it can do. I like the idea that if we really want to make something happen within ourselves, that we have the capacity to do it. I'm absolutely fascinated by that, and I hope you can be a little fascinated by that too. So, I don't know what we're going to talk about today. I almost never have like, oh, here's a topic. I mean, sometimes I do, but I almost never really have a here's a topic. So, generally, I'll take your questions, I'll blather on about stuff. I've been really interested, but not enough to spend the money. I've been really interested in this class on, this potential class, this idea about making changes happen faster. Like, I think that that's important for a lot of people. Like, I know there are folks that love to go to talk therapy. They love to go to talk therapy. They've got these problems. They talk them through. They feel better. But some people are in therapy for literal years. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. But if you, for example, have if you have a phobia of something, if you have a fear of something, or your life is not where you want it to be and you just want to get it on track, taking years to make that change is really, really not practical for a lot of people. And it can be very expensive because it's not always covered by insurance. So, whatever you want to call them, and I don't care how scientific these things are, because I want to focus on results. So if you're interested in like the sciencey end of things, and I'm not saying I don't find those things interesting, because I do, but the fact is that the changes that we want to make can happen almost effortlessly. So, and it doesn't matter to me, like if that change is you learning how to not be afraid of something, or you learning to you discover that you have the ability to do something where before you never felt that you could do it, or you are overcoming something that, you know, a pattern or a habit that you had, or you were learning how to have instant orgasms. Like, I don't care what the thing is that you find yourself wanting to do. I just think it's important that we can talk about whatever they are, and to allow ourselves to get to a point where we understand that we're capable of doing all those things. Like, that's important, right? The idea that we as humans are capable of doing almost anything that we want to do is like top notch. Yes, it's actually Sunday. And look, I get it. I am always the kind of person who is like, what day of the week is it? Oh, I thought it was this other day of the week. I literally forget that all the time. If I don't have a note, like an alarm set in my calendar, or an email note that like pops up, so yes, so welcome to Saturday. I pulled out, I'm gonna see if I can show it to you guys. I pulled out a shirt out of my closet that I haven't worn in a while. It's all hypno, like every single one of these, the rainbow hypno shirt, every single one of these. Ooh, look at that. Trance, everything's in reverse here. So reverse sync sleep. I love these. I just thought I'd show you all my my Hypno shirt. I have a whole bunch. I really like them. So anyway, yeah, what day is it? I will tell you about an experiment that I did once, because I am fortunate in that because I work for myself, I don't usually have to pay too much attention to the time, other than I try to finish work before the post office closes so that I can get everything to the post office, right? And so that's like the thing that I have to pay attention to. And I have to make sure that I pay people on certain dates or times. So those are all marked in my calendar. Actually, one of them isn't marked, and sometimes I'm like, oh, is today Friday? I had no idea. So I knew somebody who said that they were very, very bad at keeping track of time. Like, they just had no idea how much time had passed or what time it actually was. So I wrote a script. This was a long time ago. And they were living down here where I moved to, which I think is kind of interesting. I've still never met them, though. But this person, they were a really great subject. I'm sure they actually still are a really great subject. And I wrote a script for them, and I devised this program so that their brain, I should check in with them and see how it's going, so that their brain would be able to calibrate exactly what a minute was, exactly what an hour was, what a second was. So their brain would be able to calibrate time better so that they would not lose track of time anymore. So that they would always know about what time it was, or exactly what time it was. They would wake up before their alarm clock. Now that was many, 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 many computers ago. And even though I am the kind of person who didn't throw away like hard drives, I always held onto the hard drive, I can't tell you if I actually have the right components to be able to hook things up and to find that again. But I do remember that I sent them this whole program and had like clock faces and like movies of clocks with the time on them, so their brain, they would watch that while they were in trance, and their brain would get this idea about how long a minute was, how long 10 seconds was, what, to cues for the time of day, so that they would be able to know what time it was without having to think about it. It does not actually help you when you don't know actually what day it is. But I guess it could. Like, your brain could begin to be a timekeeping machine. We already are on some level, right? But it's not as precise in some people as it probably could be. So, yeah, Andrea, that's absolutely super cool. I think that that's really great that you can do that. I can sometimes do it. Like, I usually wake up in the middle of the night at around 2 o'clock to take a pill. I don't wake up to take the pill, but that's when I do, because I am awake and I have to take it like so many hours apart from everything else. So for me, that's about right. But so my brain has like gotten into a habit of me waking up at that time so that I can do it. So I approximately know when that is. But otherwise, because I don't have to know, I don't really care. Oh, yeah, that's cool. I have, you know what? I know I've seen at least a movie, and I feel like I've read the books. And then I kind of had a chortle to myself because the actor who plays Jack Reacher is not like a 6'4" person. But I digress. So, so that's pretty fascinating that they have that capacity. And again, you can learn it. I'm going to check in with them. They're in one of my Discord servers, and I'll check in with them and say, hey, how did this ever work out for you? See what happens. I am tempted to recreate it. I don't know exactly how I did it. I really don't remember it all, but I'm tempted to recreate it and just to see if people that are interested in that sort of thing might find it useful for them. I don't know. So what are some other things that you think, I would like to be better at this thing? Do you have a thing that you'd like to be better at, whether it's telling time or waking up before your alarm clock or not letting something bother you? I feel I feel like there have been a lot of things to be bothered by, especially since the advent of all the social media input that we have available in our lives. Like, I just want to live a nice, quiet, calm life. Like, I'd really like it if my heart rate was just like steady and calm and I didn't have to worry about stuff and I didn't get agitated about things. Sometimes I still do, because there's a lot of information. When I go seeking information, say, about what's going on in the world, all the stuff that comes up is like so rage baity. And I try to like be like, no, I have to let that go. I've read it, I have to let that go. So to get to a focus state, like the kind of focus state where you're trying to learn something, like you're studying for a test, or you're just like trying to pick up new information for work or something like that. Yeah. So one thing, Erin, that I found that's really great is that wanting to do a thing is going to make it more enjoyable. And that sounds really challenging and hard, right? But maybe we can focus on that today. And maybe we can also focus on getting into a focus state. I think those two things are compatible and can work really well. Does anybody have any other things that they might like to do? Or do you have any comments on either of those two options? Or that singular option where they're all intertwined? Yeah, right? The flow state is really nice to be in. I definitely, I love how in sync the two of you are. This is really great. I love that idea, and I love how it feels inside. Like when I get into that flow state, it's like I get this like bubble around me, so that me and the bubble and everything in that bubble is like really sharp and focused, is easy to make happen. Like my movements all seem really congruent with everything that I'm doing. I'm not making any mistakes. I'm not slipping up. It's just like this constant, like the gears are all enmeshed. Everything is working really well together. And I love being in that state. It makes me very happy. So I'm excited that you're here too. Thank you for being here. Yeah, so I think that what we'll do is definitely something on those lines. I want to make a comment on the YouTube ads. There's probably going to be one and or two in the middle of this. I do not have any control over how YouTube puts them in. I am trying to figure out how to have control over that. I don't. They're usually about 24 minutes apart. So I would think I will wait for a little bit and we will figure that out. So that's also something we can do, John. I think that that's a great idea for a lot of people. Like I try to like cut off. I like intermittent fasting. It may not be for you. It's not for everybody. No problem. But I try to like just cram everything into so many hours. I'm not really a big breakfast eater. Today I actually had I made myself a frozen coffee thing. And I'll have to, so I don't usually I don't eat anything till I get home from work, which is maybe if I'm lucky around 2 or 3. So if I have breakfast at 2 or 3 in the afternoon, then I'm usually done eating by 8 or 9. But we can definitely add something into that. So that is good to know, Yip. I will look that up if you can. Is it just do you know where that's playing, or do you know what the title is? Okay. All right, so we got a bunch of things going on. Now, I'm going to give you, everyone, the suggestion. Hello, G, Trance 1. I'm going to give everyone the suggestion that if you do not like the suggestions I give you, your unconscious mind has the ability to accept, reject, or adjust any suggestion I give you. I say that because it's really important. You're gonna probably hear it again and again and again from me. Your unconscious mind does not have to accept a suggestion you're given if it's not right for you. And sometimes you start out and you test it and you try it and you're like, nah, I don't think so. It would be better if it was blah, and you can make it whatever that is in your head. Sometimes you start following a suggestion, you're like, oh no, I don't think so. You don't have to let it take you out of trance. Your brain can just go, no, I'm not going to do that. I'll wait till I hear a suggestion that I want to follow, and then I'm going to follow along with that. So if I say something that you do not like, that's okay. Just hang out, stay in trance, drop a little deeper, enjoy yourself, and then we'll get to other things that your brain will hopefully appreciate and want to make happen. And so a friend of mine is a really great subject, and her thing that she does is she says, like, every time I'm in a trance, all the suggestions go up on this whiteboard. And I can just erase them at the end. Like maybe I'll accept them during the middle of the session, and then at the end my brain's like, oh, we're gonna erase these. But if she really likes them, she puts like a big black border around it, and then it goes into our unconscious mind and she makes those changes. There are plenty of methods that allow you to accept or reject suggestions, or if she wanted to adjust a suggestion, she could just change it slightly on that whiteboard. Or your brain could say, instead of this being blue, I want it to be green. Or instead of this being this, I want it to be that. Go ahead and make those happen. I believe that you have the ability to do that. Even if you don't have the ability to do it yet, you can learn to do it and your brain will be better for it. Like, just trust that your unconscious mind has what's best for you in mind and can also learn to make changes for the you that is here now, as opposed to, say, the you that was here when you were a child. Child you may have some programs that were installed, that were developed because they help keep you safe, or they help make you feel good, or they help something about your world be better. But you have the power to actually say, I want to do this. My brain wants to do this. We're going to do these things from now on. We used to do that. Now we're going to do this. It's totally okay. Let your unconscious mind understand that sometimes you just need to update. Like my computer updates sometimes. And I have to admit that sometimes those updates are really frustrating, right? Like sometimes you have an update and you're like, what's going on with this? Why isn't anything working? And then you adjust a couple things and then everything settles down. You're like, okay, this is fine. So sometimes your brain just needs to know that it's okay to make the changes, that it's okay to change what you were doing to something new, and then test it out. Test it out for a day or two. If you don't like it, if it's not working for you, if you can't make it work, you can go back to doing what you were before. It's fine. But you have to like have the ability to be like, to measure, to calibrate. Is this really better than what I had before? If it's better, keep it. If what you had before was better, can you adjust that so it suits you better now? Anyway, oh, cloud strike. I was stuck in Vegas. I actually talked about that a little bit last time, or maybe the time before, or maybe both. Yeah, it was, that's a good thing to update, but maybe not 2 weeks ago on Thursday night. So, okay, so let's do some hypnosis. Let's get our brains into this pattern, into this habit of knowing that we're going to go into trance. So, I don't know what I'm going to do for an induction. If you have a favorite one you want me to think about, if I know it, I'll do it. But I think the best thing you could do right now, and again, if an ad pops up, I'm so sorry, but just let your brain just go, oh, well, we're just gonna ignore that. We're just gonna float along during that ad. We're just gonna forget it. It's not gonna pay we're not gonna pay any attention to it. Our brain's focused on Lee's voice. It'll be fine. Okay, so let's see. I want to talk for a second about people who cannot visualize or have a hard time visualizing things. Don't stress. If I talk about something and you cannot immediately have it pop up like a video in your brain or a picture in your brain, it's all right. As long as you have a concept, an idea of what that thing is about, your unconscious mind doesn't have to see it. I will try really hard to not say things like visualize, but I might say imagine. You can use all your senses that you have available to imagine something to the very best of your ability. So don't worry too much about this one. This is a visual type induction. We'll see how you go. All right, so go ahead and close your eyes. And I would like you to imagine that you are feeling absolutely, utterly safe, right? You feel really good. Nothing about what's going to happen frightens or scares you. You feel perfectly, totally safe. You are, let's just say you are in a building. You are up several floors. You are looking out the window. And from up above, you see, maybe on a building across the way, you see me. If you don't see me, that's okay. But I'm on a building across the way, and I'm holding a big, shiny silver ball. Super shiny, right? Mirror finish, like the Bean in Chicago or some kind of disco ball type thing. However your brain interprets that, it's totally good. It's a sunny day. It catches the sun. It catches your eye. You find yourself looking at that. I'm going to drop that. And you can notice that it begins going down and down and down. And as you find yourself with your eyes closed, imagining what that would be like to follow something shiny going from up to down, let your unconscious mind pay attention. Let your conscious self drift away. Let yourself sink into your seat, feel heavier and sink into your seat. You can take nice deep breaths whenever you breathe. I like to breathe through my nose most of the time, but sometimes a nice deep breath through my mouth feels good. And I'm just allowing myself to imagine a shiny silver thing dropping down, down, down. And I'm following it and I'm dropping with it from floor 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. What happens when I hit 1 or 0? Sometimes I have it splash into a river or a stream that's at the bottom and it drifts away the way your conscious self can drift away. Sometimes I might have it smash onto the ground, and any thoughts you had can smash into a bazillion little pieces and get blown away by the wind. However you find yourself experiencing this, let yourself drop and sink down deeper and deeper into trance. Let your unconscious mind know that I'm talking directly to it, that it's safe for your conscious self to do whatever it would like. It can pay attention, it can go away. Your conscious self's job is to, if you're there, to not interfere, to go do something fun. Your unconscious mind's job is to pay attention, to follow along, to do as I say, including the parameters that I talked about earlier. And I'd like you to think about a time when you were doing something and you didn't have to think about it. Now, maybe you were listening to some music in the background. One of my favorite things sometimes is to cook and to put on a certain kind of music. Does it matter? Not really. I like a wide variety of songs. Sometimes I have sung a wide variety of songs. Often, what pops into my head are Christmas carols. I don't know what's going to pop into your head. It's just because I've been inundated with them for so long, and before my phone really was great at being a speaker, I would just sing along. So let yourself think about a time when everything was in flow, when maybe there was some noise in the background that was really familiar, really simple, really comforting, really energizing. You know what that's like, right? To have something really energizing. And when you're really energized, it's kind of like your movements become automatic. They become automatic and you find yourself simply doing. You don't have to think about it. This is a thing that you've done before over and over again. This is a thing that you know how to do. This is a thing that your brain gets. And as your brain gets this thing, as you find yourself doing it, as you hear that sound in the background, or maybe you're hearing it in your head, however that goes, let your brain just feel what that's like when you find yourself excited to do this thing, happy to do this thing. And this thing feels a little rhythmic. It feels like every single part of you is geared toward making it happen. You can feel the thoughts, the words, the ideas that you need to make this thing happen simply flowing out of you. You can feel every way that your body physically needs to move, making it happen for you. Your body feels like it is all connected, all flowing together, all interconnected, every gear just enmeshing with the next one and the next one and the next one. Everything's turning and moving and flowing in exactly the right way, and your brain feels like whatever it is that you're doing, you're on it. You're on top of how it goes. It feels really amazing for you to be there, and your unconscious mind just keeps having this kind of yes moment. Yes, 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 yes. You don't even have to think that out loud, because whatever it is that you're listening to, whatever it is that you're doing, engages you so fully and completely, and you notice that it's easy to focus on whatever it is that you're doing. It's easy for you to find yourself in this state where you just, one after the other, the words flow, the emotions flow, whatever it is, you find yourself doing it. And it just feels so very good to be right there doing these things. You're excited to do it. Maybe you're excited to just get it finished. It doesn't matter. Your brain says, oh, we got to do this thing. Yeah, let's get this thing done. It feels really good to get it done. And everything about you begins to be in sync. Every single part of you that has to help you get this thing done begins to help you. Parts that don't have to help you get it done begin to help you get it done. Begin to help all the other parts of you be excited about doing these things, want to do this thing. They focus every bit of information or knowledge that you need to make this thing happen. They just give it to you. They give you the information that you need so that you can get this thing done as quickly as you can. You can get this thing done as well as you can. You can feel how good it is to feel so competent, so connected, so in control of what it is that you're doing, that every single part of you just begins to enjoy the fact that you're getting this stuff done. Even if you don't like what you're doing, it doesn't matter, because every single part of you is excited to get it done, to do it well, and to have a good time while doing it, maybe because you're listening to something, maybe because you're just in a good mood, because every single part of you is like driven to make this thing happen. As your brain thinks about that, as your unconscious mind is like, yeah, let's get into that state. It feels so good to be in that state. You're going to do something really fun right now. You're just going to start tapping your chest right now, the top of it. Like I'm tapping my chest just about where my t-shirt neckband is, in the middle under the suprasternal notch. If you don't know what that is, I'll talk about that later, but it's that little notch right underneath your neck. It's like at the top of your chest bone. And you can start tapping on that and really capture how good it feels to do that. And when you find yourself feeling like, oh my God, yes, I feel so good, I'm just really capturing that moment, you're going to notice, you can tap until you really feel how good that is, and then you're going to just stop. And you're just going to revel in that moment. You're just going to revel in that moment of how good it feels to do this thing. And your brain's going to know that there are certain tasks that you want to apply this state to. There are certain tasks that you have coming up that you're going to do this. So when you have these tasks coming up, if you've forgotten about this consciously on any conscious level, your unconscious mind might just tap that place on your chest a couple times, and all of a sudden your brain can kick into that mode. Your brain can kick into that mode where the things that you want to get done just feel like, oh, this is the thing I'm going to do right now. It just feels so good to get these things done. It just feels so good to start doing these things. It feels so good to work on these things. It feels so good to finish these things. It's so easy to get into that state. You just tap that little spot right there, and it feels so amazingly good for your brain to be like, yeah, I got this. No, and for everything else to get blocked out. For everything else to get blocked out. And what if you're in the middle of something and somebody comes up to you and got a problem? You're like, okay, I've got this, but I have to finish this thing. I'm on a deadline. I've got to finish this thing. What if you're studying for a test, or you're doing some paperwork, whatever it happens to be? Your brain is good at focusing on the stuff in front of you. If you have to talk to somebody else, your brain's like, oh, I can talk to you about doing this thing. If you had to go away and do a thing, it's okay, because when you come back, you might just tap that spot in your chest and be like, boom, right back in that state. Boom, right back in that task, feeling how good it is to make those things happen, feeling how empowered you feel to make these things happen, feeling that flow state, feeling that focus on what it is you have to make happen, and feeling how good it is to be there. Just let your unconscious mind marinate in how amazing that feels right now for you to know that you can be in that state. Did your body get a little warm? Can you feel the energy inside you just flowing and eager to do these things? Let that happen. If you feel those things, let them happen. If you feel them a little bit, let them happen more. If your brain can think about being in that state when you tap, you might go, yes. Your unconscious mind might take as many senses as you possibly can and give you some kind of positive response to doing that, to tapping that spot in your chest and to feeling whoosh, like this immediate sense of I'm ready to do this thing, or I'm ready to get back into doing this thing if you got interrupted. I'm ready to start, to finish, to whatever this thing as good as I possibly can, as well as I possibly can, and to feel how amazing it becomes for you to be in that flow state, for your brain to just be like, oh my God, I'm right here. I'm focused on it. You don't even notice how quickly you find yourself working. You might discover that when you're finished, it flew right by. The work that you had to do flew right by because you knew what you had to do. You just had to get to do it, and you didn't want to do it. You put it off. But now, bam, you're right there in the middle of that space. You're making it happen. You're wrapping up. You're finishing up, and you feel so good. You feel so good. Maybe you feel so good that you're going to do other stuff in that same mode. I don't know. But let your unconscious mind hold on to how amazing and phenomenal it feels for you to be in that state where every single part of you is connected together and aligned together on that task that you have to do, blocking everything else out. If you happen to have to be interrupted for some reason, you can do it, but you can come back, just tap that spot and get right back into this place where your brain knows how good you are at doing this thing, how exciting it's going to be for you to finish it because you're doing a damn good job at it. Yeah. So let your brain hold on to all those thoughts. Feel how good that is. Feel any energy that flows through your body while you work on these things. Maybe you need to be calm, cool, and collected. That's okay too. Let yourself do that. You don't have to get all hot and bothered at the office if you don't want, but sometimes these things are good to have like a looseness of our body, to let our body heat up a little bit, to let all our muscles just relax a bit so we can really get into doing these things without any injury, right? So hold on to those things. Feel how really incredible that is. Tap that spot one more time just for good measure, or a couple times just for good measure. Take a nice deep breath in, and then on the count of 10, find yourself coming back all the way, feeling how amazing it is to get into that state anytime you want from now on. Anytime you want. So hold on to that. We're going to test this out, okay? So come up on 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Take a nice deep breath in. 8, move around a little bit. Shake things out. 9, open up your eyes. And 10, wide awake. Come back and tell me how you're doing. Come back and tell me how you are. How do you feel? What's that like? And while your brain is coming back and while you find yourself processing, let your unconscious mind just hold on to that. That seems really, really awesome, by the way, Lycan. I'm glad your brain does that. Your brain is getting very good at doing those types of things. I think that the idea that we can be in trance, I know it was energetic for me too. Like I am in my little booth, but it's like 78 degrees outside today because we're in like a tornado warning, hurricane watch type thing. And you know, I am so sorry, John. I didn't even get to the thing that you wanted to. So we can do that. We can do that later today. But I think that there's different parts of us that respond to different things. So that some part of you might respond to is not necessarily the part that is like, oh, give me that information. How do I do these things? Yeah. I like going away in trance. I mean, that's what I do a lot. I am just not there for the most part. I'm very, very good at that, having no idea what's going on. I do wonder, like I sometimes wonder what suggestion I could give myself in the middle of an audio so that I would know that I'd been paying attention and I know I made that happen. Oh yeah. Oh, so so this is the suprasternal notch, right? There's this thing that we all have. Here's the end of your collarbone, right here. And then there's like this little thing you can fit your finger right in there, right? You can fit your finger right in that suprasternal notch. That's what it's called. So my shirt collar lies like right below. So that's where I'm tapping. That's when I do that. That's where I'm tapping. Anyway, so feels good. Okay, so anyway, gets really hot in here. I thought it was going to be a nice cool day, but let me tell you, it's not all that nice and cool in here anymore, because I could feel as I was talking, doing all that, my body was like whoosh. It's like I was on fire. I love the snaps. I wish I could just keep doing them the whole time. Like I wish. Anyway, so it's warm in here. If you're a little warm, let's. I have my handy fan. Let's let us cool down for a moment. Okay, let's just let us cool down for a moment together. Take a nice calming breath. If you've got something to fan yourself with, if you need to, let that happen. Let that excitement, let that energy just kind of drain out of your body, right? Let's let it, if you're sitting, let it go from your head to your butt and out. That sounds a little weird, but whatever. You can let it go all the way down to your toes and drain out there too. That's fine. So, I can't have air conditioning in here per se because of the soundproofing. Air conditioning is really too loud. But usually I bring a lot of ice in here with me, like a lot of ice packs, and I put my feet on ice packs and I put them behind my back, and like 5 or 6 ice packs. I'm not gonna lie. I've tried to actually, there is an air ventilation system, and I've tried to use that to like make a swamp cooler type air conditioner, but I haven't really been successful in making that happen effectively, so I just use the ice packs. But I didn't bring any in today, so yay, I'm so glad. Okay, so when you let all that cool down and you kind of feel like you're back to normal, right? We gotta make sure things work out for you so that you can get to this at any point in time that you want. So when you've taken a nice deep breath, that you've like shaken out that extra energy, when you feel you've calmed down, right? You know where that suprasternal notch is. You're just gonna put your hands on your lap, flat on your lap, and you're gonna take one of your hands and just tap right there. And feel that energy coming back. Feel it coming back. Feel it rising up in you. I can feel my body getting a little bit warmer as I do that. Just let that happen and feel yourself entering that flow state. Feel yourself getting ready to do whatever it is that you have to do. Feel that focus clicking in, that space that is just you and whatever it is that you have to do. Feel that happening, and bam, let that kick in as strongly and powerfully as you need to. You can keep doing that if you want to every once in a while. No big deal. Notice that your unconscious mind can know that if this is a thing that you have to do, I really have to get this thing done. I've got 45 minutes to do it, or this has to be done by tomorrow, or this is a big project done by the end of the week, whatever it happens to be. Little tap, your brain's like, oh, now's the time for me to get into that state where we are ready. All of our bits, all of our parts are ready to do this task or these tasks to make this thing happen. We're on. So hold on to that. Notice how good that feels. Notice how very good this feels. Okay, so let's talk about, now eating is a tricky subject. I am absolutely not out to make anybody with an eating disorder or weird eating change anything. So this is going to be mostly directed toward John, but if there are other people who have something similar, again, take the message that you want and let go of the things that you don't. This is simply another way to do things and you might also be able to listen, whether or not you go into trance, to find that the messages that I'm going to share about this are really helpful in allowing, somebody to make a thing happen, to make a change in their life. So, okay. So anything that you find yourself wanting to do that's sort of a timed thing, right? Like you find yourself wanting to do something and you only want to do it during a certain period of the day. And it doesn't matter how you normally do it in the middle of the day. I don't care about that. So John wants to make sure that they don't eat or don't snack late at night, right? So One of the things that I find particularly powerful in so many things that we find ourselves driven to do, or it feels like we're driven to do them, right? Like we're watching TV, or we're doing something that's, I don't know, kind of mindless. We're playing a game, we're reading a book, and maybe we've got like it's 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night, we're up kind of late, and then we just open the whole bag of potato chips and cram them all in. Whatever it happens to be. Like, maybe that's perfectly fine for you. So if it's perfectly fine for you, I'm not saying don't do it. Maybe you work the night shift and that's acceptable for you, okay? Maybe you've got like one of those little lunch size bags of chips. I don't care, eat the whole thing. I love chips. But what I am saying is that if snacking late at night is a thing you don't want to find yourself doing, one of my favorite things to do is to simply take emotion and desire out of that thing. So you feel really strongly about something. What if you didn't feel really strongly about it? What if you just kind of didn't care? What if every single part of you, including your taste buds, including your reward center, is just like, no, I don't think so. Okay. So if you were already in trance, or even if you were only in a light trance, let me just say that the depth of trance is irrelevant. It really doesn't matter. Humans accept suggestion all the time. So you can accept suggestion if you wanted to, even if you're not in a state of trance. It's totally fine. So let your unconscious mind think about how good it feels to just slide right back to that state. I'm going to close my eyes for a bit while I get there myself. I'm going to let myself settle down and calm down and feel my body getting a little bit heavier. I'm still pretty warm, but I've definitely dissipated some of that energy, that heat from before. So let's think about what that means to be eating late at night, to do something that you find yourself wanting to do. So you're going to have to define whatever that time period means for you. Like I said, I like to eat breakfast at around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I like to stop eating around 8 or 9 o'clock at night. That works for me. You're going to have to figure out your own time period. So, or your own, I don't want to do this thing at that time anymore, okay? So your unconscious mind, as you find yourself dropping deeper into trance now, as you find yourself going into deeper sleep now, as you find yourself going into that space where your unconscious mind is open and accepting of the words that I'm saying, where you find yourself ready to make change, you might find yourself thinking, yes, I'm ready to make these changes. Yes, I'm ready to drop deeper into trance. Yes, I'm ready to accept hypnosis. Yes, I'm ready to make these changes. It feels really good to make these changes. Your unconscious mind can know that there's a thing that you find yourself wanting to do only up to a certain time of day. And your brain says, okay, up to this certain time of day, I'm happy to do this thing. And then after that, nah. So what we're going to do is you're going to allow your unconscious mind to basically pay some small bit of attention to what time it actually is. And maybe about 5 minutes before that time, your unconscious mind is simply going to, for whatever the thing is that you want to find yourself doing, whether it's snacking on something or something else. Maybe it's, for some people, it's going on to some kind of social media late at night, and then you stay up way too late binging on that. Doesn't matter what it is. Your unconscious mind is going to take that thing that you used to do that you don't want to do anymore, and it's simply going to, once the clock ticks over to that time, begin to drain out all the color from that. Begin to drain out any feelings that you had about that were positive. Any rewards that you used to give yourself for doing these things, stop being rewarding. And your unconscious mind knows what it's already doing in terms of giving you those rewards, how it's making those happen. So it's going to make those things happen. It's going to be like, oh, well, this thing no longer has the pull it had for me. This thing no longer has the interest it had for me. So you're up late. You no longer feel that urge to snack on whatever, because your unconscious mind has just taken any of the possibilities that you could have added into that. Whether that snacking involves, scrolling through something, starting one more game, eating something, it doesn't matter what the thing is. Your unconscious mind just takes the color, the emotion, any movement, any sound, any everything, and just pales. Once that time hits, whatever that time is for you, all of that interest, all of those things just go, they just completely get drained away from that. You no longer find them visually interesting, auditorially interesting, kinesthetically interesting. You're not driven to them. There's no smells that will distract you. There's no taste that makes it good for you. Your brain is just like, eh. In fact, your brain may decide to do something like, you know what? I'm just going to go and like floss and brush and get my mouth ready for bed and maybe grab a glass of water or something. Your brain might be, you know what? I'm just going to go turn this off and go charge it instead. You know what? I'm just going to go pick up this other thing, or I've got some few things that I'd like to get done tonight so that they're finished for tomorrow. Let your unconscious mind hold on to all those thoughts. Hold on to how good it is to know that all those things are things that you can do instead of, that you want to do instead of, that your brain has got its own list of these are things that you've been wanting to make happen, you're going to make them happen instead. And all those other things, after that certain time, just the interest in them has just dissolved away, has just gone away. Let your unconscious mind do its very best to make them as uninteresting for you as possible. And when things are uninteresting for you, you might discover that you overlook them. You miss them. You actually don't miss them, but you could, they could be in the middle of a room and you just wouldn't see them. They're kind of hiding in plain sight and you're not paying any attention. You're not going looking for them. You're not longing for them. You don't want them. Your brain just goes, okay, we're going to do something else. And allow your unconscious mind to think about how good it feels to just find that you're doing something else. The other thing that you're doing should be something that you need to do or have to do or want to do, that calms you down, that doesn't amp you up like those other things might have been feeding you in some way. Your brain just says, you know what? I'm good with all those things. I don't need them anymore. I don't want them anymore. Even if they're around, your brain just kind of glosses over them and you don't choose them. You find yourself choosing something else that your unconscious mind may have just noticed is something that feels really interesting for you, feels really good for you, that allows you to, say, get to sleep on time, that allows you to calm down before bed so that you can get to sleep when your head hits the pillow. Something else that allows your brain to know, oh, I'm going to get some really great sleep because I haven't gotten myself all amped up with these other things, whatever they happen to be. Let your unconscious mind wrap itself around those ideas about what you can do to make changes and how you can make those changes unconsciously. And as soon as your unconscious mind goes, yeah, you know what? I needed to make some changes. This feels really good. Now I don't have to hear my conscious self complain anymore about these things that it has wanted to do. We're just not going to do them anymore. So from now on, we're just going to do this instead of that. No biggie. These are the new things, or things that we should have been doing anyway, or we wanted to do anyway, or whatever. They're healthier for all of us in the long run. So when your brain gets to that point and says yes to those things, yes, I'm going to make those changes, yes, we're going to do these new things from now on, yes, we're going to have this new behavior pattern kick in from now on, notice that, I don't know, maybe your hands go from lying flat on your thighs to like just clenching, or clenching a little bit, wiggling a little bit. As soon as your hands have done that and you've said yes to these changes, let your unconscious mind come back up feeling really, really great. Come back up feeling really, really great. Let us know what happened. Think about how incredible it feels to have made those changes. Share with me what that's going to be. If your brain needs a little bit more time to do that and you don't find yourself coming up in the next couple of minutes, don't worry about it. Your unconscious mind can think about how to make these changes happen. Sometimes changes are hard, but your brain can know that if it can do one thing, it can do another thing. That you have parts inside you that want the very best for you. So they can encourage those parts that are like, I don't know if I can. They can either flip those parts to be like, yes, I can. Or they can just be there, don't worry, we're here to back you up. If you can't do it, we'll do it instead. And then notice how they can all work together to make the things that you want to have happen. So find yourself making that decision to say yes. Find your unconscious mind curling your fist, and then find yourself coming all the way back up, having made those changes, when you sleep tonight, you might notice that your brain feels a little busy when your head hits that pillow. You might find yourself going, something's going on. I feel like something's going on in my head. I don't know what it is. And then when you sleep tonight, your unconscious mind and your body can work together to put all those things together, in a way that just feels really exciting, in a way that feels for you that your unconscious mind is on this, is just really going to make these things happen. Just feels really, really great for you to make these things happen. Hold on to what that's like. Find yourself dropping down deeper, and then when you're ready, just come on, head back up and say hello when you're awake again. I'll give you a moment. And if you're not used to that, I will count you up on the count of 10, and you can let your brain make all these changes tonight while you're sleeping. Because I know that not everyone is used to that style. Hello. 1, 2. If you need to stay entranced, you can do that. You'll wake up whenever you need to. 3, 4, 5, 6. Hello. 7, 8, 9. Remember, if you need to stay in trance, go ahead and drop back down now. You can wake up when you need to. And 10. Come back up. Oh, you're so welcome, John. I'm glad of that. I've never heard it put that way, Ira. That's really great. You're very welcome. Thank you so much, Andrea. So if you guys have any other things that you want to talk about, feel free to let me know. I love your comments. I love knowing what else you want to make happen. Love helping you make that happen. But really, it's you. Your brain is capable of amazing things. Go ahead and let those things happen. Thank you for supporting me by being here. I appreciate all my members and all my patrons. And if you just want to listen and let me know what you like, I'm good with that too. So you're very welcome. All right. So I'm going to say goodbye. I want to say again, thank you for being here. If you are still in trance and you want to stay there, that's okay. You can wake up whenever you need to. Don't worry about it. You'll wake up when you have to. So let your brain make all the changes that are really important to you. Let them feel super good for you. You know how I talked about in the flow state, like everything just sort of clicks together, everything enmeshes, the gears are all moving together. Let any changes you make feel really natural and organic for you, so that it's not like you feel like you're out of place. Let your brain just know that you're going to be making everything really, really congruent with everything else going on in your body. Like the changes just kind of ripple out and everything feels really natural, really wonderful. Okay, thank you for being here. I'm going to say goodbye. I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. I'll be back next Sunday, and I'll see you then. Bye.